Thank you, everybody, for coming to the Aaron Torres Podcast YouTube page. If you could do me a quick favor, see that little subscribe button at the bottom of your screen? Go ahead, click that subscribe button. Really does help our channel grow, our audience grow, and I really do appreciate it more than you know. So click that subscribe button. Appreciate your support. Now, here's the video that you came here for. First of all, for people who are new to the show, I love Coach Prime. I think he's about the right things. I think he cares about the kids. And I think we have a story that proves, like, if you want college football to go back to the way it was to some degree, that it is about accomplishment on the field, that it's not all about NIL, that it's not all about paying players, that it's not all about this and that. I think we found something interesting at Colorado. Okay, so Colorado coming into last Saturday. So week one, they lose to Georgia Tech. That was a game they could have won. Caden Salter, the high-profile transfer from Liberty, gets the start against Georgia Tech. He's okay, but he's not great. Colorado gets the loss. What's interesting about it, and by the way, thank you, Producer Matt. As always, we do have a Torres on Colorado account, Torres on CU on Twitter. If you're a Buffs fan, if you're a Coach Prime fan, make sure you're following Torres on CU. But I bring it up because, look, so week one, they lose to Georgia Tech. Caden Salter looks okay. But remember, they have the five-star Julian Lewis as a backup to Caden Salter. And I think there was a lot of talk of, like, dude, you brought in this five-star, one of the top quarterbacks in America. Is he going to get some run? And so going into last week, Coach Prime said, yeah, they're both going to play. He said, his exact quote was, I have a plan, and it became interesting, and I'll tell you why in a second. But Caden Salter gets the first two series. Then Julian Lewis comes in for the next two series. And so you say, okay, we're going to find out. Is it the vet? Is it the rookie? Is it the freshman? Is it the fifth, sixth-year senior? Okay. Then something interesting happened. And I actually had this game on, and I flipped it off, and then I turned it back on. And when I turned it back on late in the first half, Colorado gets the ball back. They're up, whatever. They're playing Delaware. Who cares what the score was? But I turn it on, and Caden Salter's not in. And Julian Lewis isn't in. And I turn it on, and this guy named Ryan Staub is in. Now, if you follow Colorado, you know the name Ryan Staub. He was the backup last year. 2 years ago, if you remember, Shedeur got hurt late in the year. They actually turned to Ryan Staub to start the final game of the regular season. But I bring it up because I turn on the game, and I was like, Ryan Staub is in? What? Then he throws a touchdown pass in that game, and you're like, okay, that's interesting. Then they start the second half. He's playing. They throw a touchdown pass again, and all of a sudden it's like, oh, my goodness, this is a very interesting thing. Well, I bring it up because the game goes final, and all of a sudden there's all this Ryan Staub talk. RG3 was actually on the call for Fox, and he put out a tweet that basically said, Ryan Staub should be your week 3 starter. Well, I bring it up because we got official news on Tuesday morning, right before we went live. Ryan Staub, third-string starter, is in fact going to be your starting quarterback going into week 3. They play at Houston on Friday night. That news via Pete Thamel. Producer Matt, I know we had the tweet. I'm sorry I didn't call for it earlier. Colorado expected to start Ryan Staub at quarterback for the game at Houston on Friday. Enter the Delaware game on Saturday, third-string QB, 7 of 10 completions, 157 yards, 2 touchdowns. All right, so let's talk about this decision. First of all, if you actually watched the game, if you actually had either the game on in the background, you listened to the post game. I actually went back to the press conference to kind of listen to see if Coach Prime said anything specific. And all he said was, yeah, I know what I'm going to do next game, but I'm not going to tell you guys right now. And I think even in that moment, it kind of felt like Coach Prime really likes this Ryan Staub kid. And he's done all the right things. He said all the right things. As I said, this was a kid that started 2 years ago, backed up Shedeur last year. They bring in 2 different quarterbacks this past year. And guess what? The kid never left. The kid never entered the portal. He never left. And if you need an indication of just how much Coach Prime liked this kid, I want you to listen to what Coach Prime said. They did an on-field interview after the game. Now, obviously, because we can't show the video, but here is the audio of Coach Prime talking about his quarterback, Ryan Staub. Ryan Staub also is interviewed. You can just tell the affection that Coach Prime has for this kid. Play the sound.
Guy who came in just before the half and balled out for you.
I saw what I've been seeing at practice for the last few years. Like, this is who he is. This is who he's always been. He just needed opportunity. That's all he needed.
Well, you're a team-first guy. You're a backup to Shedeur. Stayed on this team this year with 2 quarterbacks coming in. Why?
I had a dream, and I saw something, and I just wanted to chase it. I love being here. I love playing for Coach Prime. And, man, I'm just so blessed I got the opportunity. All I needed was that opportunity, and we got more work to do.
took advantage of it. Coach, how are you going to manage these 3 quarterbacks going forward with Houston next week in Big 12 play?
I got a plan. Like I had a plan coming into this game. I have a plan. I don't know if I'm going to disclose it until we get to our destination, but I saw what everybody else saw today. Martin Luther Staub, that's what he said. He had his dream, right?
And Ryan, what did you see from your team's performance here in a turnaround from week 1?
It was good, but we got to be better. We got to be better. We got to fix a lot of things, and we got to be sharp going into next week, and especially the rest of the season.
Appreciate the time, guys. Enjoy this win at home.
I love this kid, man.
Love you, Coach.
Guys, back to you.
He said Martin Luther Staub.
First of all, how about I'm sorry. Martin Luther. I'm not even trying to be fake laughing here. Martin Luther Staub, I had a dream. I died when I heard that this morning, okay? But you can tell. You can see the affection that Coach Prime has for this kid. I love it. I think this is one of the coolest stories in all of college football, and I think this is the right move by Coach Prime. First of all, as far as the decision itself, listen, I think it's the right move. Listen, what do they say? The eye in the sky don't lie. And if you watch the first 2 games, listen, I'm not rooting against Caden Salter. I'm not rooting against Julian Lewis. I think certainly Julian Lewis has a bright future in college football. But if you watch the first 2 games, I think Caden Salter, I don't know if he was nervous. And by the way, maybe it's not all Caden Salter's fault. But, maybe he knows there's a 5-star right on my back. Maybe he knew in the back of his head, hey, this guy that's been in the program is outplaying me in practice. I don't know what it is. But if you watch Caden Salter, it felt like the decisions were rushed. It felt like he just was never really that comfortable in this system. And again, I don't know if it's just because he's nervous, just because it's his, it's a new school, it's a new system, or if he knew, hey, I got a 5-star on my butt and I got this guy that's been in the program on my butt. But he didn't look good. If you watch Julian Lewis, listen, I'm not going to criticize Julian Lewis. 17 years old, okay? He reclassified. Remember, he was the number 1 quarterback in the class of 2026, reclassified to 2025, goes to Colorado. But if you saw the game, he's still 17 years old. He'll turn 18 later this month. That's kind of incredible. He just was not ready for that stage in that moment, and that's okay. Doesn't mean he won't get there. But if you watch the game, Staub was by far the best option. And I'll tell you this, I give Coach Prime credit for making the decision that he did. Let me also kind of wrap by saying this too, is that if you are somebody that misses the old way of college football, because I'll tell you what, every single episode I do, every single show I do, I have somebody in the comments saying something to the effect of, I hate this new world. I stopped watching college football. I hate NIL. The players have too much power. The agents have too much power. I want the old days. I'll tell you this. There aren't very many old school coaches left in college football. I think Kirby Smart's probably one. There's a few others. Deion Sanders, Coach Prime, is the old school coach that you want. Everything that people think about Coach Prime is actually the exact opposite. And I think this is a perfect example, right? Listen, we don't know the NIL setup at Colorado. It's not, what it is at other places. But I guarantee you, probably a good portion of their NIL budget went to Caden Salter when he committed to Colorado. Julian Lewis, I'm sure, is making very good money. By the way, he was in I think a national Taco Bell commercial. I could be wrong. It might have been local. But I bring it up because very clearly those 2 guys have been getting the NIL deals, the NIL endorsements, the NIL this, the money, that, whatever. And I bring it up because I think in a lot of other places, the coach would feel pressure to be like, we're paying these kids a lot of money. I got to pay them. I got to play them whether they're actually the best option or not. And where I give Coach Prime credit is he's saying, listen, there's one dude in this locker room that gives our team the best chance to win. He wasn't the number 1 transfer quarterback in the country. He wasn't the number 1 recruit in the country. He wasn't a 5-star, but he shows up every day and does his job. It's Ryan Staub. And I don't care what the critics say. I don't care what the outsiders say. You know what this actually kind of reminds me of? And it didn't really end up necessarily working out great for this specific guy. But do you remember last year, the Pittsburgh Steelers, Mike Tomlin, early in the season, Mike Tomlin was basically was playing Justin Fields. They were winning, but then Russell Wilson came back. He was healthy, and Mike Tomlin made the decision unilaterally without anyone else's input to play Russell Wilson. And he was asked about it, and they said, why did you do it? He said, it was my decision. It was solely my decision. That's why they pay me the big bucks, because I knew that this guy was going to put us in the best position to win. And so fast forward to the Deion thing, I think this is the exact same thing. Is maybe at other places you can't do this. Maybe at other places you are beholden to agents or boosters or whatever. I think Coach Prime is just like, I'm running it my way. We're doing it my way. This guy has earned his opportunity to be my starting quarterback. So we'll see what happens. Listen, there's no guarantee that he goes on the field and he lights it up against Houston and they're great and they win that game. But it's clear that Coach Prime has seen enough in practice and in film and in games where this is the guy. And so I give Coach Prime credit. It would have been easy to stick with the transfer who isn't getting the job done. It would have been easy to say, well, there's pressure on me to play the 5-star. He's saying no. The guy that gives me the best chance to win, the guy that's going to help the other 82 guys or whatever it is in this locker room that aren't in the quarterback room, it's that quarterback, Brian Staub. I was going to say Ryan Salter. I was like, that does not sound right. Ryan Staub. I give Coach Prime credit. I absolutely freaking love it. Can't wait to watch Friday night, 7:30 Eastern, when Colorado plays Houston. I just love this from Coach Prime.